Greetings and welcome to this week's episode of Vampire the Masquerade Beyond Armageddon. Before we begin, I'd like to make a few announcements. First, please consider checking out the new upcoming V5 book, Sabbat the Schism. Not only does it delve into the history and lore of the sect, it opens up multiple role-playing options for fans of the game, including new playable clans, elder level powers, and much more. You can find a preview of Sabbat the Schism in the link below. Second, I'd like to thank RS Experiments, aka Mark, our local musical talent, for graciously providing the custom music you've been enjoying so far, including our awesome main theme song called Haven Dweller. If you enjoy any of the music used during the stream and you'd like to hear more, you can find a full library of Mark's work by clicking the link below to RS Experiments' SoundCloud page. Lastly, if you enjoy tonight's session and you'd like to see more, be sure to follow both our channels. You can catch us live most Sundays at 7 p.m. CET by tuning in to twitch.tv/RSA Games, or check out all our recorded sessions at RSA Games on YouTube. Links below. Remember to like, subscribe, and be sure to leave us feedback and suggestions in the comments below. We hope you enjoy the session, and without further ado, let us delve into the world of darkness in tonight's episode of Vampire the Masquerade Beyond Armageddon. Welcome. Tonight we will be joined at some point by a guest, Kate, who will be playing one of my characters that has shown in the past, though not yet on stream. So, we begin. The night is a dry one, though the wind blows quite cold. You all awaken, aware that soon enough, Cecil will collect all of you and take you on the trip to Washington. As you rise, Serena, you notice that Cecil has already gotten up and left the room. He is nowhere to be seen right now.
No morning cuddles, huh?
None. And your mind drifts to the present, the gift that you've prepared for Vykos. You look on the table and you see the volume you've picked. one regarding the occult and the spirit world, one of your expertise.
Yes. And also my handcrafted gift.
Of course.
The four bone bookmarks in pre-Christian traditions of Slavic West, Viking rune script and knots, Celtic, Ogham and knots. And what was the third one? Fourth one? Finnic. Finnic, what's it called? Um, embroidery patterns, which are also used as a language. So
Okay.
they're pretty thin, no more than maybe about like 3 millimeters, 2.5, and would suit any book starting from an A5. So
Mm-hmm. And as you look upon these gifts, thinking of what might actually happen once you deliver them to Vykos, it sort of sinks in that you're about to meet Vykos. That
yeah,
feeling sort of.
time to get ready. This is excited time. Even though Cecil is very worried, so there is that anxiety, but it's also like countered with the like with the oh my god.
Right. And as you begin to get ready, we cut to Larry, who awakens in a room adjacent to Jim and Jack. Larry, as you awaken, you sort of stretch your wings. They slightly crack as you begin moving the joints. And you look around to see that, as usual, on the windowsill, your bird friend awaits you, pecking at the window, and you can only see the feet of the bird as the rest of the window is sunproofed.
I will come up to the window and open it up.
Mm-hmm. You unlock it, open it, and the bird uh, gives a few taps and hops into the room. Then, with a quick flutter of wings, flies up to your wing and perches itself there.
Hello, little one. I will pet him.
The bird does
Missed.
not shy away from your hand at all. If anything, it sort of presses its head towards your claw.
Are you a Mr. or a Mrs.? I will take the bird in my hand, like flip it over, and try to regain some studies of biology, maybe? To take a look.
Okay. You may roll, let's say, wits and animal ken.
Oh, I'm good at
Or
that.
actually, int and animal ken.
Oh, I'm not so good at that.
It's fine. It's fine. You're gonna do fine. What do you mean? That's pretty fucking decent roll.
2 successes.
Yeah. So you can tell it's a female.
Oh, Mrs. Crow. And I will go and put her back on my shoulder, maybe.
Yep. You let her hop onto your shoulder, and the bird quickly flutters up and lands on essentially the top of your wing. And As you turn to look at the exit, you see a quite busy Jim walking down the hallway and wrapping something very carefully, folding it.
Your way,
I
Miguel.
will take a closer look at Jim.
Quick perception and investigation.
Mm. Does insightful apply?
Depends. Are you looking at Jim himself or trying to decipher what he's folding up?
Mm. Let's go with what he's holding up.
Okay. Then no, it does not apply.
1 success.
Indeed. You can tell it's some type of clothing. By the length, it's probably either a set of pants, a skirt, maybe a scarf. One of the three.
Okay. I will go out of my room, sort of on the way out of the building. Go along Jack's room, look inside, knock knock.
You look inside, and Jack is not there.
Okay. Then I will go about my business.
And as you
Waiting
do,
for a command to gather.
and as you do, Jim, as you carefully fold the gift you've prepared, you walk down the hallway to see Larry essentially walking into the lobby with his bird friend on his wing. And out of the basement comes Serena. And how is Serena dressed as she walks into the lobby?
So Serena's wearing a long gown, was made of black leather, with artistically draped folds and stuff. Very geometric, and um, a pair of heels. Well, as you know, she can't really show her bare feet, given the moths. Um, and you see that the tail that's usually hidden, so hidden underneath dress or pants or whatever she's wearing, is actually folded around her waist, with a few dangles on it, that seem to have been pierced into it. So, like, jewelry. And so it basically looks like a nude colored, like a leather belt on her dress, with jewelry. But you recognize that it's a tail because at some point she sort of like unwraps it and then wraps around the dress again. And when she greets you and then walks past, and you see that the reason the tail's out is because the dress does have like an open back, so she could sort of say stick it out and use it as uh, a belt. And she has her leather jacket thrown over the shoulder, which she's planning to wear. And underneath her hand, there's like wrapped in velvet um, fabric, tied with a leather rope. Looks awfully also flesh colored. Tied, and it looks like a book, but there also seems to be like some items stacked on top of the book.
Funny part is that everything Serena currently describing is also current Jim's thoughts when he is looking at his pack priest. Oh, Reverend Madam, I see you're already awake. You're looking nice. I see you've prepared a meeting. The Tzmitza.
Well, my dresses do need to be worn out on occasion. Not a lot of occasions in Sabbat. Usually you have to be ready to get your elbows greasy.
I see. Well, since you're the first person I've met, you probably want to take a look at this, as Jim shows the card that he has created.
Serena, kindly roll me very quickly a let's see, perception crafts.
Does this... Why craft? Wouldn't it be flesh crafting if he's
No,
using flesh?
because he's not using flesh crafting, and it wouldn't be medicine because, well, this is not specifically anatomy,
Does discerning
really.
apply?
It's
Does discerning apply?
discerning does apply, yes. Okay. So you can tell by the type of fabric it is. It's not one material, it's a mixture of materials. But there is one type of thread that you can't recognize. And it's not leather, it's a type of thread specifically. You do not recognize what it is, but it gives the texture of it.
I touch it. I touch it.
Jim, how does it feel?
Well, it feels. I'd say it feels a bit soft to the touch, yet if you really try, you can actually feel a thread, everything single thread with the tip of your finger.
Can I look at the thread with my auspex closer?
You can, but it's only gonna. What are you trying to deduce about it?
Well, does it look like a regular fabric thread?
It does. You just don't recognize the type of fabric.
Yeah, but I remember Jim having like a fucking person with
Yeah. So you could
pieces
try
of the
and
skin. So
you could try and deduce if this is human skin, but you've never seen human skin shaped this way, so you have no frame of reference
so
here.
let me use some auspex. Plus, human skin I'd be able to shape.
Very true, but are you willing to try
So
and shape the scarf?
I can try, but not do it. Basically, see if it actually starts like responding.
Okay. Let me roll something in the background if you're attempting this. Are you attempting this?
Can I first use my auspex?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you can roll
Cool.
perception and craft, but it's not going to give you much more than you've already gotten.
Okay. Well, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 successes.
Okay, well, you can tell that the mix of different fabrics is done in a very meticulous way. They are in a very strict quantity. Like it's type 1, type 2, type 3, type 2, type 1, and it follows this pattern the entire fabric. And the type of thread specifically that you don't really recognize, you notice it's essentially spun into itself in a way, and it looks very when you sort of play with the fabric, it looks like it stretches far more than the others, and it squishes onto itself far more than the others. You're muted.
Test? Oh, there we go. Is this flesh, Fred? Here? Jim.
You're asking me?
Well, yeah.
It's skin. Yes, it's made of human flesh.
Okay. Well, not bad. I'm sure Vykos will appreciate it.
Well, due to time constraints, it's only a small scarf, but well, if you take a closer look, I've made it look like it resembles a serpent. It has a head and has a tail.
Well, it's good craftsmanship, and I'm sure Vykos will appreciate it. I mean,
really hope so.
at first I was very, I was at first I was thinking I'm about to be disappointed because I specifically did say that gifting Vykos a piece of clothing would be regular clothing would be quite silly indeed. But you haven't disappointed us so far. Good
Well,
job.
I had more amusing ideas, but I decided to not bother you or doctors.
Well, it's bad. It's not bad. Hopefully the others have made found something suitable as well.
Guess we can
After
go
all,
check them out.
at the same time, I do appreciate self, how to say, self-reliance. They're all through Sabbat, just like you, and it's not about hand-holding, at least in these matters. I've been instructed in what to do, but the rest is up to them and their mind. After all, you wouldn't be. After all, the doctors and I are not specifically mother and father here to handhold everybody through their struggles. Only the and the military ones.
That's correct. Well, shall we go?
Cecil will soon fetch us, so I suppose you do have time to make yourself presentable if you still need. Pack whatever you need. Oh, right. I remembered what I need. And she places down her gift and goes downstairs because Serena's gonna fetch the book that Cecil got her so that she spends her time in the flight. Basically, so that during the flight she spends her time busy and not just looking out of the window. Afterwards, she comes back with the other book. Almost forgot my light reading. By the way, the light reading of the Miguel, the light reading of my book on magic that Cecil got me. How light is it?
It's not light at all. You read through the entire thing already, but you've understood about 5% of it. It is
Yeah, but
very
no,
fucking difficult to
no, but like also in like
Oh,
how many pages?
we're talking like minimum 700, maybe 800 pages.
Yeah,
So
this is light reading.
it's a thick
This
boy.
is light read. Yes, this is light reading for her. Okay. So yeah, Serena comes back with a thick ass book that looks to be about something occult. Slammed it on the table next to her gift. I almost forgot to take some light reading with me.
And it's at this point that outside you hear a car, familiar sound of an engine approaching. And as you look outside, you see Abel's van that eventually parks outside. And out comes the man himself.
Good evening.
Serena just then remembers that, oh shit, did anybody tell Abel that he needs to get a gift?
On a side note, I am assuming that you guys did inform Abel. Abel did have time to prepare, as much time as you did. And I'm also going to point out that while you sent him a message and he responded, you haven't actually seen Abel for about 2 weeks now. He's been away. And whenever you ask Cecil about it, it's recon missions, really. It's all he can actually tell you.
Have you been?
Oh, just here and there. You do
Okay,
notice
well,
that Abel is carrying a box.
I see you brought a gift.
Yes, a modest gift.
Okay, actually, before we leave, for our trip, since this is the first time you've showed up, meet our new pack member, and we will also need to do a Volder. He has passed his creation rites. This is Jim. He's a Toreador.
Oh, we've actually met.
You've met?
Yeah, Jack and Jim and I went to a charity
I
auction.
see. Well, still, I suppose it's good for us to do the Voldery before we, uh, we leave, since otherwise Jim is not really truth about before that. So I'm gonna prepare. Can somebody text Cecil that we should definitely do this before we leave, since otherwise Jim is technically still false about. And Serena just like taps away on her heels into the cellar to fetch the items and prepares a Voldery for when Cecil gets back.
Mm-hmm. And as you go downstairs, and Abel, Larry, and Jim are left alone, eventually you also spot that there is a car approaching. You recognize it's Jack's car. You can spot it from a distance approaching. But as it approaches the front of the building and begins to stop, you notice there's someone else in the car with him. Someone you don't recognize, mind you.
I get out of the car, open the passenger door. Get agents. I'd assume they just already went to the porch.
That is entirely up to them.
Fellas.
On a Porsche.
Yes, staying on
Everybody's
my
in the
fucking
house.
Porsche.
Everybody's in the house.
I mean, you can all see the car. Are you guys there?
Yeah, and we're all waiting for them to come inside.
I'll grab my wrapped in decent craft paper, nothing fancy, just decent craft paper. How big is the book?
The book you got?
Yeah.
It's it's a fairly recent book, so it's an A5. It's very light reading, but it addresses some really interesting theories from what you've read.
Yeah. Just grab it and walk inside. They over my shoulder. Don't hesitate to walk in, it's my house.
And as Jack says this, the door of the car opens, and out walks someone you don't really recognize.
Oh, hello, Jack.
Hello.
May I ask you who is this new person?
You may. That's an acquaintance of mine. Her name's Freya.
Jim will use our perception to check if the guest is Caine or not. Basically, is it Caine?
Okay. Well, you may roll for it. Difficulty is a bit lower than usual. but go for it.
Perception empathy, right?
Yep.
Two successes.
2 successes indeed. Actually, that's way more. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's 4 successes. So you stare at her aura, and not only do you actually get what she is, you get something weird that I will PM you, but for the light info that you get, definitely Cainite. Her emotions are a mix of excitement, and you also see tinges of it's either a bit of anxiety or a bit of boredom. It's one of the two, and it seems very, very mixed. But the main emotion seems to be excitement, which is it contrasts heavily with the way she's acting. She is very calm, not showing any emotion really. And as soon as you detect her aura, you see her her head sort of twitches up, and then she immediately turns her gaze to you, as if she knows what you're doing.
I shall show my hospitality. Hello, my name's Jim. Welcome.
Greetings. My name is Freya. Such a nice evening to meet new people or non-people.
Always nice to meet new people.
At this point, Serena comes out of the basement. With her, she's carrying the tablecloth, that is used for the Voldery, and the Voldery chalice, as well as the box in which she keeps the dagger. She looks to Jack. Oh, hello. Before we leave, we should have the Voldery, since otherwise our new member is not truly true Sabbat. Oh, we have guests.
Yep. She is an acquaintance of mine. Her name's Freya. Cecil approved, so just no fuss about it.
Cecil approved of her taking the part of the Voldery, or
No.
joining the pack, or going to see Vykos. You're
Going to
gonna have to
DC.
be. I see. Well, you're gonna have to be more specific when you speak like that.
I seem to catch nasty habits.
You don't, or do you want me to just read your mind? Because I could do that.
Nope, please don't.
Good. Then please be more specific.
As I said, I seem to catch nasty fucking habits.
Good. Then, unless you want your mind to be read, be more specific in the future. Has anybody texted Cecil? And Serena looks to Jim, Larry, and Abel.
Well, I just woke up, so...
No. Earlier, when I walked down, I asked you guys to text Cecil to tell him that we're also going to do a Voldery before we leave. No? Okay, never mind. Serena takes out the phone, quickly types a message, and then approaches Freya. Greetings. I am Serena Moore, the pack priest of these people who seem to be suffering from my derangement far more than I am.
Oh, nice to meet you, Serena. I'm just +1 person. I won't disturb you.
Well, I'm sure we're supposed to leave soon. Just Bouldery and then off to the airport.
As you say this, you check your phone, and it seems that the message hasn't been read yet.
Draw a card.
Okay.
The card is Cecil all right?
Okay. Roll for it. Yeah, all the ones. All the ones.
1, 2, 3. So 4 to interpret.
And that's a botch to...
I mean, what's my difficulty though to interpret, given that it's a simple divination?
Fair.
Because it could be just a 0.
Well, just for the sake of keeping the story going without much panic, all of a sudden, I'll just say it's a fail. So you draw a sun, but you have no fucking idea if it means yes, he's all right, or he's met his final death. Because it's a fucking sun. And you're like,
Here comes the sun.
I like logically, Serena knows this means absolute yes.
yes,
He's
but
fine.
you look at the card and you're like,
She calls him.
you call Cecil?
Mm.
Okay. The phone rings. It rings again. And once more. And then you hear a click. Hello. I'm busy.
Probably we should also do the Voldery, otherwise Jim is not really true Sabbat.
After. Do we
you
have to do the Voldery without me for a second? I'm busy. Digging graves isn't easy. And he just clicks and the call turns off.
We
Graves.
can do Waldery 10 kilometers into the air.
Oh. Fair. Let's do Voldery on the airplane. Wait, would it be the Voldery 10-mile high club?
Supposedly.
I mean,
But also, just think about it. We're gonna do it closer to God, so just rub it in his face.
ooh, I like your train of thought. Fine, I'm gonna go get some bags. Who knows why Cecil is digging graves?
No fucking idea. Gents?
Right, I'm gonna go and pack this up with us.
Yeah, I'm gonna change it real quick. And Jack leaves to his room. Because this suit is not official enough.
All right. What other preparations are all of you doing?
Yeah, I'll probably grab one of the books I bought on auction. Light reading.
Mm-hmm. Proceeds to read it
I'll-
in 5 minutes.
Yes. I'll just stick out of my door.
Focus 10
Anyone
pages
needs a
long.
book or something? I've got plenty.
Jim, Abel, Larry.
Freya.
I assume Freya has plenty of fucking books with her. Let's just say her
inside her
background
suitcase.
covers it.
Yeah.
Maybe not
Deep
a
inside
lot.
her suitcase collector edition of Harry Potter.
Maybe not a lot of books, but a few of them, and
actually-
the best.
Yeah, speaking of which, eventually, Jack, Leo shows up, holding a essentially one of those wrapped book collections, and he hands it to you. Here's what you asked for, boss. Don't know why you need it, but
There is a lady downstairs. Give it to her. It's for her. Not Serena.
okay. Level of danger here.
No.
Got it.
Leo, when was Harry Potter any level of danger? Except for quote unquote 8's book.
Last time I didn't ask this, I walked into the living room to see a gigantic stone monster,
my
boss. Just preparing my own nerves.
She is a keeper.
Got it.
Not in a sexual way.
I understood. And he sort of walks off, shaking his head a bit. And eventually he reaches the lobby, sees Freya, gives a slight bow and says, "A gift from Master Jack." And he hands you a full collection of books. You check the title, says Harry Potter.
So Freya widened her eyes, both a bit, and said, "Okay, I hope these books consist of a lot of witchcraft to wake my interest. But thank you anyway."
Leo says, simply tries to shake off his emotions and say, "Well, I'm sure Master Jack was explicit enough about their contents. Have a good evening, miss." And he turns around and immediately fucks off. As to not tempt the wrath of this unknown person he just met. And as the night progresses, Larry, what other preparations do you make?
I don't really think that Larry made any preparations aside from maybe informing Oswald that they will be like out of town.
Okay. To make sure you're not bringing Oswald with you, or you're not asking him to come with you. You're just informing him.
No. Yeah.
Noted.
Mm.
Oswald simply tells you or advises you to be safe, and that he'll try and keep unwanted attention away from your business and your haven.
Amazing.
Abel, what kind of... oh,
yeah.
You're not done?
Nothing more.
Okay. Abel, do you make any other preparations for tonight?
Maybe I'll just bring some DVDs with playing the movies.
Mm-hmm. Well, you certainly have your own little collection, and since you traveled more than most, given your clan curse, you do have like a bit of a collection with you that you've acquired over the years. Obviously, some of the VHSs are carrying just accumulating dust in the corner. You probably should clean that up at some point, but you do have a few DVDs.
Yeah, it's going to be mainly plane crash movies. And I especially select the ones with Spanish voiceovers.
Of course. As any good plane trip goes.
I was expecting 5 hours of Mr. Bean on repeat.
If there's any plane crash episodes of Mr. Bean, I'll just say it's canon that they're included. Jim, what other preparations are you making for tonight?
Jim will grab a couple of barns, so a couple of balls of yarn, several ones made from his fabric, several from common ones. He'll also grab a needle, scissors, and some other various niche sewing tools.
let's say you grab an assortment of materials and your tailoring kit.
Hmm.
Good.
Good old-fashioned Finnish heavy metal knitting scarves.
And as you all are about finished with your preparations, eventually you hear the front door open, and you walk into the lobby to see Cecil, a bit dirty, like covered in dirt, and carrying what looks like a pretty hefty bag, like a looks like a cloth bag, red cloth, but it's definitely filled with something. And as he walks through the fabric, you see bits of ashes fall off. And he walks inside the lobby, goes to the basement, and eventually returns with essentially a wooden box. And he takes a wooden box, locks it with a key, and puts the key around his neck.
Serena looks to Cecil. Jack had a brilliant idea. We're gonna do the Voldery on the plane.
Doesn't matter. We'll do it on the plane. That's fine. Let's go. And he just starts walking towards the car. You can tell that he's trying to get this over with as quickly as possible.
Serena just grabs two of the shoulder bags that she has. One was the Voldery kit, and the other one was her light reading and the gift, and spare clothes just in case she needs to get into a fight. So yeah, and follows him out.
Mm-hmm. And as Cecil gets in his car, I'm assuming all of you pack up and ready yourselves to go.
Yeah.
And as you arrive to the airport, you notice that Cecil doesn't drive into the airport. He drives next to the airport until he reaches essentially a side area of the airport that is fenced off. He parks his car there, and as he exits, he checks his phone, makes a phone call, waits, and then checks his phone and says, "Okay." And he simply waits, turned towards the fence. He doesn't say a word.
We wait.
Yeah. And as you're waiting, Cecil kind of eyes, like he glances at all of you and does a double take as soon as he sees Freya. And then looks to you, Jack. This the one?
The one and only. Freya, meet my ductus. Cecil, meet my acquaintance Freya.
Hello, Cecil. Nice to meet you.
Don't get us killed.
I will try.
And in the distance, you see a group of people slowly approaching. They reach the fence, and what looks like it should be a solid fence, one of them simply grabs the wire of the fence and almost opens it like a door. It doesn't seem like it should be physically possible for this to happen, yet it does. And the man simply gestures inside and says, "Your jet is waiting."
We walk through. Let's get this over with.
So you do. You're guided by these gentlemen through the open area of the airport until you reach one of the hangars. And inside you see this this jet. It's not incredibly big, but it's decently sized. You see that the jet is basically prepped. There is someone already ready to fly the plane, and you are guided inside the plane, and your baggage is taken away to be stored elsewhere. And
No, not my baggage.
so you insist on keeping your baggage.
The books. Well, the books that is for my light reading, and also the Voldry kit because I will need it now.
Okay, that's fine. They don't really fight you on it. They just offer to take your bags. And yeah, as you all make it inside, you do notice that none of them really bat an eye at Larry, even though he's just a walking 2-meter tall statue. They don't really give a shit.
That is excellent because Serena basically starts setting up the Voldries the moment we get in and start settling in.
Mm-hmm. And as all of you get in, the pilot simply makes an announcement that we're taking off. Please take your seats. I will advise when it's appropriate to stand up, or safe to stand up. And the plane begins its takeoff. And a few minutes after, you hear the announcement that you're free to walk the plane as you wish.
It's free. Serena basically conducts the Voldry since we recently had a Voldry. Let's not roleplay it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So basically pathing the chalice as usual with the blood, and all around so that
We'll
Jim
roll for
is
it later.
fully- Yeah. Oh, we don't need to. It's only like 2 people I think need to give Jim like dice. Everything else was already done.
Mm-hmm. As a bit of a setup for the Voldry, as you prepare for the Voldry, Cecil seems to be preparing, just pulling back his sleeve, and he notices that Freya is still sitting down, and he simply asks, "Will you be partaking in this Voldry?"
Well, I can try. If my role is really essential. I'm just kidding.
And as you say that, Freya, you notice that Cecil seems to be staring at you quite focused. And you sense the pressure in the back of your mind. And realize that he's trying to read your mind. Do you try to stop him or not?
I can try.
You want to try and stop him?
I would like to. I would
Okay.
like doing it.
Let me double check something. Here we go. Yep, that's... Yep. I need to roll... Yep, that's not enough to overcome... Oh, actually it is. Because it's not the number, so I said, yeah, it is enough. You feel this pressure in the back of your mind, and no matter how much you try to sort of shake it off, you sense that he manages to pierce through whatever defenses you tried to put up. And after just a second of it, Cecil's eyebrow furrows, and he immediately, like his head immediately jolts towards Jack. She's not of the sect?
She is of the clan and she's not with the tower.
You better know what you're doing. This might get us killed. You said she'd be of help. You said she was part of your clan. I assumed.
She will be. She will be. She wants Delmont's head as part of the help. So,
Then she needs to partake in the Voldry.
Yeah,
But she does not contribute to it.
I suppose.
Do you
That
agree
is
to
the
these
only way.
terms? And he turns to Freya.
Well, I'm not against it.
Good.
If it's really important,
Very well.
I can do it.
Good. Pull your sleeve back. And we'll roll for
Wait.
what happened.
Wait. I don't. If she's not officially part of Sabbat, she can't contribute to the blood. She can't contribute the blood.
All right then.
That will be against our own laws because she needs to pass creation rites just as everybody else, and she hasn't.
Technically, that was me misspeaking. Apologies. But yes. After the Voldery, Freya, you drink this bowl of blood that has been mixed from everyone present at the plane except you. And as you drink it, I will PM you something, and I will let you guys roleplay for a bit, telling us what you're doing on the plane, and I will send a private message really quick.
Serena just sits down looking at Jack,
I know what I'm doing.
do you?
Essentially.
Because clearly you haven't informed of all the details when you asked for permission.
Well,
Because it was Cecil's invitation.
yes.
Do
With
you
my
know
head
how
on the line.
Do you know how hospitality works? It's all of our heads on a line.
Well, I'll make sure she doesn't break any law.
Well, don't worry. Now she won't because technically she's false Sabbat.
Yes. Well, she
Either
didn't
way.
inform me she's not from the sect.
Either way. No, it's your fuck up. Either
I know.
way. It seems next fuck up in that direction, and there will be contrition rites to take. And you can see that Serena's pretty pissed off. She's quite upset that you didn't check her background well enough. You brought a non-sect member into the Haven, and so on. Basically, there's just a whole list of
I know.
shit. And whether it's your house or not, it is the Haven. And as a person who basically claims to be the abbot, you're supposed to be more responsible.
I know.
Doesn't seem like you know. Either way, if there's any fuck ups during this situation, know that I will ask from you. And then she sits down and basically fumes silently as she pulls out her large tome and start just aggressively reading and taking notes.
All right. Jack, how does this situation, how are you processing the situation in your mind?
The aftertaste is disgusting. But now I just have to control it better.
All right. And what about you, Freya? Given that you're a guest of Jack's, what's going through your mind as you witness this situation?
So, firstly, Freya just glanced because this situation, like any other social situation, is something new for her. And she tries to stay very calm and says, "Please, no stress. I think we will have enough time to have some arguments after our meeting."
Serena looks to her. I expected to see a fellow Sabbat member, even if you are of the Lazombra clan, unless you're a true Sabbat, which you're not. You're not really at a place to advise us, regardless of whatever deal you had with Jack. Do not push our buttons, since we had to involve you in a Voldery that technically makes you now false Sabbat of our pack. Technically, for this meeting, so please. I'm sure your clan must have taught you about manners which were currently broken, regarding the Code of Milan and how we are meant to act. So please, next time you wish to advise us on how to solve inner pack issues, I'd advise you to keep it to yourself.
Freya just shrugs, cringes a bit, and says, "Okay, but I really
Serena
don't
looks at
like
you.
any
Serena
conflict."
Freya,
looks.
please don't.
Serena just looks at her warningly. And then looks back to her book.
Are we about to have a girl fight?
I mean, given
That's-
how
that's gonna
Just
be-
fucking pulling hair of each other.
That's gonna be painful, just because the plane's not gonna survive.
exactly.
And
Okay.
only you can fucking fly on your own.
Oh, don't
if
worry,
you
I
still
don't
have
need to,
wings after the plane blows up.
Uh-huh.
But yes, the rest of the flight is a tense but overall uneventful one. And a few hours later, as you reach almost the end of everything you brought to distract yourselves on board, the plane, the pilot
Not
basically...
me.
The
I'm
pilot...
going over the book.
The pilot basically says, please take your seats, we're about to land. And
Serena just sits down next to Cecil, and still looking very annoyed, very fuming.
Cecil
Jim
genuinely...
Jim tried to defuse the situation, but still everyone's basically tense.
Yeah. Cecil, despite all the events, doesn't seem to give a single fuck about the situation. He seems fucking terrified at the prospect of coming into contact with Vykos.
What? As everybody sits down, do people seem to be paying too much attention to Cecil and I?
That is entirely up
I
to the others.
obviously don't.
Huh?
I'd probably chat a bit with Larry, but because he doesn't seem to have a fucking gift.
Basically, when I look around, does it seem like anybody's really paying attention to us? Because if not, I'm just going to take Cecil's hand and give it a squeeze when I see that he's still terrified.
As you do that, and this is regardless of if people are watching or not, Cecil doesn't look at you, but he squeezes your hand back really fucking hard. Like it hurts.
It's okay. It's okay. That's okay.
And eventually...
Definitely doesn't hurt as much as vicissitude, does it?
Debatable. Eventually, the plane comes to a stop. And almost immediately, Cecil gets up, takes the box and heads towards the exit of the plane.
Cecil, with all the stuff.
All right. Anyone waiting behind, doing something before you leave, anything like that?
Yeah, when Freya leaves, I'm gonna like gently hold the elbow and like, you should have told me that you're not true Sabbat, because now we are in deeper kind of fucking worms.
Does Freya respond?
Freya just grins as usual. I mean, she shrugs her shoulders and saying, egal. Oh, sorry.
Nicht
I
egal.
say, oh,
That's fucking important to know.
okay, but we can do nothing about it. So,
Not anymore.
yeah. So just live with it.
And as you all leave the plane, you see that there is a man waiting right outside the plane next to a limousine with a door open. And he simply says, "Welcome to Washington, if you please."
There's a limo. Sit next to Cecil.
Judging by a brief eye glance, do I possibly fit?
Maybe.
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 Perhaps.
I will overweight it, but
Well,
with a lot of
you
struggles.
you give a bit of a test, like you place one of your feet on the limo and start placing your weight on it, and it definitely, like, the limo buckles a bit as you start putting weight onto it. The gentleman notices this and turns to you, saying, perhaps follow us from above."
I will sort of glance at him with a side eye. Like,
My
wavy.
sincere apologies. It seems the accommodations we had made were for more human-shaped visitors.
So you didn't even know who was coming then?
We knew numbers, and we knew of the presence of a gargoyle. We did not estimate the size of the gargoyle, however. You have my most sincere apologies. And he genuinely bows before you, which is something you're not used to nowadays.
I enjoy it. I fucking enjoy it. I sort of stand there, weigh my options. All right. Just for the sake of good manners. And I will step aside and get ready to fly up in the air.
Yeah, and as you begin to step aside, the man, still bowing, says, "Once at the destination, I will make preparations, but you may land at the helicopter pad. Sinking through the earth is a skill you are well versed in, correct?"
Yes.
Sinking through the helicopter pad, you should reach a room. I will have someone to escort you to the proper destination. And again, apologies for the inconvenience.
I nod. Found the fucking word. And yeah, that's it.
And with a beat of your wings, up you go. The rest of you, I would assume, get into the limousine.
Yeah.
Okay. And as it begins to drive off, you find yourselves sort of in a very eerie, quiet environment, only really accompanied by the movement that the road imposes on the car. And this goes on for a solid 15, 20 minutes as you wait and contemplate what's about to happen. And eventually, the car stops. Before it stops, you feel it sort of go down a ramp and stop. And as it stops, the door opens and the driver simply bows and allows you all to exit.
I'll wait for Cecil and Serena because superiors.
I
Cecil,
exit. Whoever's closest. Like if Cecil's closer to the exit, let him leave first.
yeah, well,
Mm.
Cecil exits, then Serena, and then the rest, I suppose. Jack, Abel, and Jim. And the last one to leave is Freya. Sort of establishing what the ranking of power is. And as you leave, and begin walking towards an elevator where the driver directed you, the elevator doors open, and in, sort of hunched over, is Larry next to a man who looks somewhat terrified, ready to essentially direct the elevator to where you need to go. It's quite a large elevator, but it's not tall enough for Larry to be comfortable, so he's sort of like bent over and with the wings very tucked in, looking very scrunched up.
I hope I don't kill you all by overweighing it. Just saying.
Doubt we're gonna die from an elevator.
Yeah, the end of the story. I count as 15 people.
I mean, I count as 2 people, so you know.
Where?
Do demons in your head count?
Oh, then it's a whole legion.
Yeah.
Whatever amount of people goes in, the elevator is big enough. That's fine. So
It's it's a cargo elevator, isn't it?
let's say that, yes. So as you get into the elevator, the man, instead of pressing a single button for the floor, he seems to press a number of floors and then presses the basement and the top level floors at the same time and holds them. And as he holds them, the door closes, and you are in the parking lot, so there aren't all that many floors below you. The elevator heads down.
I count
And
the floors.
yeah, you count, it seems to be basement, then another floor, maybe another, and then it slowly brings itself to a stop.
Okay.
And as it stops, the man lets go of the buttons, inputs another code, and the door opens. And on the other side, it's pitch black darkness, and the man simply says, "This is your floor, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good evening."
Eyes of the Beast.
Okay. I don't think you need any expenditure for that, do you? Yeah.
Nope.
So Serena looks to the man, then blinks, and after holding her eyes shut for a moment, opens them, and it's just 2 red flashlights on her face.
I mean, they were red before, now they're glowing red.
Mm-hmm.
Can I
And
roll if Jack would have prepared light vision shadows?
We can say you have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jack's eyes go pitch black.
Mm-hmm.
walk in. Hopefully the lights are not gonna like flash on, blinding us both.
Well,
Probably three of us.
anyone else activating any sort of night vision? Enhanced
Yeah,
vision, anything like that?
Freya has this ability as well, so she might.
Entirely up to her. Freya, do you partake in this dark ritual?
Of course.
Okay.
Why
so
not?
Freya's eyes also go pitch black. Abel,
Also,
Jim, Larry, do any of you use any sort of vision enhancement?
Jim is sticking with his sunglasses. No way he's taking them off.
I can trust my own eyes and Jim's drip, so I'm
Okay.
good.
do I see anything in the darkness?
Well, first, Abel, any preparation?
I don't mind. I don't mind peering into the abyss.
All right. And as all of you walk into this pitch black room, anyone with night vision sees that it's sort of this very welcoming lobby, sort of like the entrance of a hotel, only the actually it's not quite a hotel. It looks more like the entrance to a theater almost. It's very high class, very well decorated, and it's very spacious with two big doors leading to the what you assume is the main room. And as you enter, the lights don't just beam, but they slowly begin to increase, and anyone without night vision begins to see things. Anyone with night vision slowly turns them
Can turn it off.
Yeah. You can tell the room is basically made with these types of situations in mind. Not only is the room very, very fucking big, but you do notice the room has several accommodations. You notice that there were sewer entrances back at the parking lot. You notice that there are no cameras present here. It seems to be a room specifically designed with Cainites in mind. There aren't even any windows here because, well, you're this far underground. And as the lights sort of rise, the two doors click open and slowly begin to pry. And as they do, immediately the scent of blood just hits all of you like a fucking truck.
Is
And
it canine blood?
no,
Okay, good.
you're fine. Don't you worry. And inside, you see this sort of long hallway. And right at the end of it, there's a sort of large, for lack of a better description, throne. And on it is a very androgynous looking person with, from here, what looks like a very odd hairstyle and very revealing clothing, even though the proportions seem to be somewhat off. The limbs seem to be all a bit longer than you'd expect. The spine seems to be rather straight, despite the very relaxed position this person's in. And as you approach the room itself, you notice that the odd hairstyle is because the hair isn't hair. It's a number of sort of skin tentacles, skin extensions, shaped like hair, dripping down the back of this person. You notice that the face is ungodly pale and smooth, almost like porcelain, with incredibly symmetrical and off-putting features. The only thing that stains this person's skin is the slight stripes on the jawline. And this creature just watches all of you, tapping its cheek and examining all of you stepping into the room.
Or perception.
You tried to use aura perception?
I mean, if Cecil is terrified.
Okay, you may spend the blood, and as you try to use aura perception, you find it weird, you can't. So it's like you flex the muscle that should do this, and it does nothing.
Interesting. I mean, there's no blood spent, but interesting.
Yeah. Well, you try to use a discipline, and it doesn't really work.
Okay. I let Cecil take the lead since he was the one invited.
You glance towards Cecil, and Cecil's holding the box, like, clenching it very tightly towards his chest, and he's fucking frozen.
Okay, well, as we approach, like, the throne to, like, respectable part, I mean, as a pack priest, who's a spiritual leader, I'm also perfectly, like, okay for, like, the spiritual parts to, like, start the hospitality thing. So if he's terrified, I'ma go. And remind me, with my previous knowledge of hospitality, basically, I approach and thank you for the invitation, and offer a gift, right?
Yeah, that's the general gist, but I'd like you to roleplay it out as...
Yeah, no. I'm just like every like for every like. So if Cecil's terrified, I'm going to take the lead as the equal in the pack and approach Monsieur, Madame Vykos, and I humbly thank you for extending your invitation to us, Priestess Vykos, and present to you a small gift of our appreciation for your hospitality. It is my hope that the gift will be to your liking, and give them a nod and pass them the gift, wrapped in the velvet.
The... Vykos, basically...
And also, I prepend to all of that. My name is Serena Moore. I'm the pack priest. That is basically in before like the rest, and then.
After tapping their cheek for a few moments, Vykos very slowly places their hand on the armrest, brings their legs down, and stands up. And with a very oddly delicate walk, the figure almost glides towards you, and with one hand, they take the wrapped up gift that you present, and after unfolding the cover that you've made with a single finger, they examine the book, flip a few pages, and notice the bookmarks as they flip through the pages. Close the book and say, "My name is Sascha Vykos, and it is a pleasure to have you in my domain. Your gift is appreciated. As a return gift, not only will I offer you knowledge that you've been seeking, I'll offer all of you a favor from me. 1 hour of my time to be used as they wish.
And Serena steps like semi bows in like thanking, and then steps back and just like hopes that this was enough for Cecil to like nap out of it, and or somebody else to take the lead.
Yep. As Cecil begins to take a step forward and sort of prepares himself to speak, Vykos looks to Cecil and says, "It's been a long time. I've noticed that my child has been silent. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you, Cecil?" And Cecil immediately shuts up. And after sort of performing this very dry swallowing sound, he extends his hands with the box, and after steeling himself for a moment, says, "While his blood now runs through my veins, I offer you what remains of him as a return back home." Vykos takes a few steps forward, and without taking the box itself, simply places one nail on the space between the lid and the box itself, does a very slight motion, and you hear the lock instantly snap, and the box opens. Vykos seems to play with the ashes for a little, and chuckles, and then takes the box and says, "Thank you for bringing him home. Honestly, I wish I had done it in myself." And tosses the box to the side, and it lands on the ground. The ashes splatter to the floor. "Honestly, you've been far more interesting than he was. To you, I give something a bit extra. Instead of an hour, I'll give you a full night of my time, because I do like the way you've been behaving, Cecil. You've been doing a lot of naughty things, haven't you?" And Cecil simply straightens his back, still nervous and pale to all hell, and gives a slight nod. "Good. Good. What about you?" And Vykos turns to Larry and begins to approach. "Hands empty? You're a lot larger than I imagined. Is it Larry or Amadeus?"
Larry, if you please.
"Good. What gift have you brought? I'm curious."
Since I am not a scholar, and nor don't I have any collection as my backmates do, I offer you a rare gift, my own flesh. As a gargoyle, my form is a rare creation, and I know it may be of interest to someone of your mastery.
Vykos eyes you up and down, and then says, "You surprise me." With a glance to the others, she just says, "The ball's on this man."
Like Serena actually looks impressed too as Larry. Also for his manners, like
Vykos extends his hand, or their hand, rather. "If I may," and glances at your arm.
I extend my hand to him.
Mm-hmm. Vykos takes your hand, and tracing the wrist, seems to take your thumb and, with a very slight tug, you don't even feel it. It's like your thumb feels a bit lighter. You don't see any difference. But as Vykos then turns their hand and spreads their fingers, you notice that there is now your blood essentially staining Vykos's fingers. And after playing with it for a moment, Vykos licks it and says, the usurper experiments never cease to amaze. Fun what a couple of, frankly, disgusting mages can achieve once they put their mind to it, isn't it?
I just have to ask, does Serena have to go through an addict check?
I don't think it's enough blood to cause that type of reaction.
Okay.
It's just a little stain on the fingers.
Okay.
And
I mean, he licked it.
If Serena felt like that, she'd like probably just like do a little like movement with her nose, because she's already prepared for it due to previous things that she'd be like,
there's a reason why this doesn't cause a frenzy. There's a reason why it's not enough to cause a frenzy.
Okay.
Vykos then, after playing with the blood of it, essentially lets your arm go, and as your arm sort of runs through their fingers, you may remove one blood point as Vykos sort of drags blood away from your body. You don't even feel that the blood is coming out of you. It just does. Almost like your blood is putty in Vykos's hands. And
That
after
was very gentle.
Yeah. And after closing their hand, they open and the blood is completely gone. Vykos then says, I extend to you the same gift I offer your packmates. An hour of my time to be used as you wish. Within reason, Gargoyle. And then
I know.
Vykos turns and notices Jack, and their gaze sort of extends to Freya and says, let me guess. Jack the Lasombra brought me one of his clanmates as a gift. How wonderful.
Almost, very Reverend Priestess.
Come here, darling. Let me have a look at you. And Vykos takes a few steps towards Freya. And Freya, do you do anything?
Face a bit shocked, but not against it. She bows a little, and then stays still.
Vykos very gently places Freya's chin on their finger and just examines her features. Now, I know you didn't bring this one as a gift, I jest, but since my invitation did not extend to her, I will be taking an hour of her time as the gift. Is that fair, Mr. Jack?
Of course. I would greatly appreciate if you accept another gift.
And what
This
might
book?
that be?
It's a book about Shadowlands.
May I?
Oh, sure. I give the book.
After flipping the pages, Vykos closes the book and says, what an intriguing read. Definitely mentions a few things that I'd rather keep secret. It's half the fun of research, is it not? But I appreciate the gift, Mr. Jack. As for you, what's your name? And Vykos turns to Freya.
My name is Freya, and it's a real honor to see you.
I'm sure. Do you bring a gift as well?
Yes, here are my humble gifts. It's 2 books about necromancy in medieval age, and the book about information about bats as familiars.
As you mentioned, the necromancy, Vykos flips through the pages of the book. Again, every time she takes one of the books, she's placing them on a table that's just that there are various tables adorning the sides of the room.
Nice.
Vykos just places a book on one of the tables. She flips through they flip through the pages of the book regarding necromancy as you describe it. And the genuine reaction is very, more research about necromancy, more research about necromancy. And then you mention a book about bats as familiars. And Vykos immediately looks to you, shuts the book on necromancy, hands it back, and takes the one about bats. And says, "Now there's something interesting. Never had one like this." And starts flipping through the pages and says, "I appreciate both your gifts, and I will cherish them. Never show up in my territory unless I invite you, or you announce yourself first. Understood?"
Yes, of course.
Good. And they take the books and leave them on a table. Then Vykos turns to the remaining 2. She walks towards Abel and says,
They walk.
Shush. Pronouns are mixed when it comes to Vykos, okay? They walk towards Abel, and after eyeing Abel up and down, says, "You are an interesting case. From what I know, you delve into some pretty horrific things, and yet here you are, as lively as a beach." Abel?
Indeed. One needs to keep their enemies close, and my enemies are with me all the time.
Interesting. Have you brought a gift like the others?
Abel presents the box that he had with him. It's a set of artisan surgery tools. Vintage.
Vykos,
May these tools provide you with inspiration, I suppose. Different tools make different cuts, don't they?
you're as wise as I expected you to be. Vykos takes the box, flips it open, examines the tools within, and says, "If nothing else, mementos like these bring fond memories, don't they, Abel?"
And who are we without our memories?
Of course. You should know. Like the others, I offer you an hour of my time to be used at your discretion. Valuable commodity time, isn't it? Now, the last one, the most recent addition to this merry band, Mr. Jim. Is that correct?
I'm most honored to be in your presence. Please accept this gift. It may pale in comparison, as I'm not a scholar and don't have nice, well, flesh to examine as Larry had, but I hope you will appreciate this gift.
Vykos extends their hands, and you place the scarf. Vykos unfolds it, examines it, and they basically have a closer look. At first, they seem very unimpressed, but then they start examining the fabric. My god! How did you manage this? I didn't know you were adept at vicissitude. From what I remember, you were looking to learn. How did you learn so fast?
Sadly, it's just an imitation. I have no knowledge nor skills in vicissitude, yet I try my best.
So you managed this without the use of our discipline.
It does take a lot of time, but the result, I
It
really
speaks for
speaks for it.
itself. And Vicus immediately throws the scarf on and does a couple of sort of twirls wearing it and allows the scarf to sort of drip on their hand and says, "You, my friend, have good taste and lots of talent. I could use someone like you to work for me. Look at this. An hour of my time, as usual, and I look forward to seeing how you use it."
I am most honored for this.
Of course, of course. Now, we must discuss business, must we not? And Vicus, still wearing the scarf, walks towards the throne, takes a seat, and very uncharacteristically for someone in their position, throws their feet onto the side of the throne, sort of just assuming a very relaxed and carefree position, and starts playing with the scarf with one finger. So, you are all privy to some information that most would consider dangerous. Is that not the case?
Does Cecil still look?
Cecil is fucking petrified, and
Yeah.
while he tries to speak, his mouth is just sort of
Fine.
agape.
I mean, we're privy to a lot of different information that could be considered dangerous. So, a little pointers in specifics of the information would be helpful.
The man you call Ruark, his little dickless underling, all of their secretive business.
You mean the Nagaraja in masks?
Nagaraja, yes. Those cunts. I'm aware of their existence, and I'd like to
And
share
we're
what I
aware
know.
you're- And we're aware you're definitely not allied with them.
Did you have any doubt?
We don't know. I mean, Rourke is pretty high up, so I had to divine that.
Ruark, unlike myself, decided that buying the favor of others was the ticket for his own safety. I myself prefer to send a message when I can.
It's like just smiles and nods.
Now, what you might not know is that the faction you are attempting to overcome is far larger than you may think. Not in size, but in power. I know you were already theorizing that they must have friends in high places in all the sects. Obviously, that's true. That's a given. What you may not know is that they also obtain members in the lowest ranks, people who are often ignored. Those are the people you have to watch out for. They listen more often than they speak. Yes?
Serena just does a little glance at Freya and Jim at the same time as he's speaking.
And
Because
it allows you to look in both directions.
One eye just pops from the forehead and just looks at X-Ray and then fucking
One
closes.
pops from the ponytail.
Then Vykos continues. On top of that, it should serve you well to know the history of the people you're fighting. Unfortunately, these particular motherfuckers don't have a lot of registered and known history. We know they had some association with us, the Sabbat, I mean, though their inception comes from something far older. We are talking...
What is their name?
Hmm?
What is their name? Do they have a name?
Well, I'm sure they do. I wouldn't know it. I know that they've had origins to do with the Black Hand, though the Black Hand itself seems to be mostly independent within the possibilities of the Sabbat. Now, this particular sect, it goes far, far beyond just the inception of our ranks. It goes from before even I was this magnificent creature you see before you. It comes from the time of a man or woman by the name of Troil. Do you recognize the name? No?
Would I recognize? I have kindred lore occult.
Fuck no. This shit is like really ancient. Even Beckett is kind of foggy on the names of the antediluvians for the most
This
part.
is older than fucking Vasilisa.
Yeah. So
And he be like, what, 4,000 years old?
unless you have about the same information as Beckett, it's really fucking difficult for you to know about this stuff. In fact, you wouldn't prize Beckett's books as much as you do if you knew this type of stuff. So, no, you don't really... The name does not ring a bell at all. Vykos continues. No, to be expected. Well, you know about the antediluvians. It's pretty common knowledge amongst our sect. The people we usually want to stab multiple times until their ashes cover the world. Yes? Well, it turns out that Troild, the antediluvian of Clan Bruja, was the victim of something very akin to what my grandchild did. And Vykos basically gestures towards Cecil when they say this. As in...
Iris just looks at Cecil just like...
As in, they sired someone who had bad appetite, so the story goes. And this bad appetite caused a bit of a problem. At least that's what I think happened. Stories are very foggy. Some theories say that the way that bad appetite went was the other way around. Maybe Troild was the sire, maybe he was the child, maybe they were the child. Who knows? All we know is that there was a bit of conflict, and an offshoot of Bruja came from it. These emotionless cowards. Few in number, very, very high in ambition. And they decided, why not fuck the entire world over for this? And so, generations went by, and eventually a sect was created in secret. A sect to serve antediluvians. As you may imagine, that is quite the slight to our cause. This is what you're fighting. You're fighting people who serve these ancients and would rather see us all tear each other apart rather than think for 5 seconds about the consequences of their actions. Sucking enough dick never buys you safety. So, any questions I might answer?
Do you know about their city in the Shadowlands?
They have a city in the Shadowlands. That's interesting. I don't know about it. Not more than you do.
They have a base there. That's what we got from Basically, we've managed to capture Nagaraja last time. I've baited them to attack me, Frenzy, and one of them was bent beyond their ability to return wherever. And our old packmate, who perished recently, while he was kicked to the Shadowlands in the same location where we were at, and he's the red-haired knucklehead who followed him, like entered also the Shadowlands after him. But the rest of them who followed quite soon after did not enter the Shadowlands at the same time. And what Cecil managed to recover from the Nagaraja we captured was that they have a city there where they're based. And it looked very... it's difficult to explain. The architecture is off. I mean, I suppose I could just... It would be easier to show it.
Worry not, I've already gotten that information from you. Regardless, this is something to work on. How do they get there? My guess would be through the use of necromancy. Are any of you adept necromancers? I'm aware that my grandchild has dabbled, but whether through stupidity or lack of interest, hasn't gotten enough information to solve this particular problem.
Jack kind of subconsciously just kind of turns his head towards Freya.
Vykos notices this slight motion and turns their gaze to Freya. Are you a necromancer?
Yes, a little bit.
Very good. It's good that you've managed to get such good allies. Perhaps Mr. Jack did not get himself killed in bringing this lady here with him. Perhaps it was a decision that one should not judge so rashly. Is it not, Cecil? And Cecil, again, still seems to be petrified in place. And you start to notice that regardless of what situation is going on, Cecil seems actually paralyzed. Like he can't actually move.
Can I see what's his emotional state, Cecil's?
You can,
Like,
yeah.
okay.
Perception,
Can I
empathy.
understand if it's from vicissitude or if Cecil just scares shitless?
That would be alertness. No, actually,
5, 6.
wits occult, please.
4 successes. 4
What's the
successes.
code?
Okay. When it comes to his emotion, his expression is one of fear, but he's way too fucking paralyzed to be normal.
No. I'm doing aura perception.
Oh, aura perception. Yeah.
4 successes.
Utter shock, fear, and panic. Almost as if he's in a
I'm
fear frenzy, but bordering
can
on it.
I just like whisper to him with passion?
You may, but allow me to give Jack's results first.
Yeah.
So, Jack, while you haven't heard of vicissitude doing such things, Vykos is way beyond anything you understand about vicissitude. And you know damn well that Dominate can achieve a similar result if you try hard enough. You've seen elders do it on you specifically. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
discipline in Clan La Sombre is not a nice thing to go through. And so you'd assume that if the Zamichi do something like this with vicissitude, this is what's happening. Whatever the fuck it is, it ain't natural. That's for damn sure. He's paralyzed and forced to be paralyzed, not emotionally, paralyzed by a... He's not emotionally paralyzed.
He's a toy here right now.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. What's his path rating? 7?
Cecil's path rating, I can give it in a second. Hold on. I have to switch the screen because otherwise people see things I'd rather keep secret. Because I am a nasty little SD who's constantly keeping secrets from my players because I'm evil. There we go. Okay, let me open up his sheet. His path rating is currently 8 because he's been raising it recently.
Okay, 3 successes.
Mhm.
And basically Serena just whispers to him, I think this is a good thing, so like basically just like she just whispers to him like take a deep steady breath. And I'm going to lower the fear, paralyzing him.
Yep. So you whisper this, and you know it worked. Like you feel that you project this this change towards him. As far as you can tell, it worked. He doesn't move a fucking muscle. He's a statue right now. And Vykos then sort of puts both legs down, straightens their back, and places both hands on their knees and says, "What are we trying to do here?"
Just doing my pack priest business.
Oh, he's in
Spiritual
detention.
and-
Don't touch him. In fact,
Oh.
I would like to ask you a few questions. He shouldn't really listen to this. And Vykos simply does a simple motion, and Cecil goes flying out the room and the door shut. So very quickly, I wanted to check. One by one, what do you think of your ductus? Now don't lie. I'll be able to know if you're lying. I'm very good at seeing through people. Come on. You first, Gargoyle. What do you think of your ductus?
He is a man of honor and dignity and loyalty to himself, to the pack, and to the sword.
All right. And is that your honest opinion? Or are we trying to engage in good old-fashioned PR?
It is my honest opinion.
I'll take your word for it. And what about... let's see... Taylor, you good with your hands? Let's see if you're good with your words as well. What do you think of your ductus? Haven't known him that long, but you must have formed an opinion.
Well, I have two memories that are stuck in my head. First one is when I'm flying and hitting the wall. The second one is where he is comforting me during my meltdown.
Which means...
Other than
What does this mean?
I still haven't figured out, but I am a loyal member of the Sword, and I shall support my my pack my pact priest and my doctors as far as I can.
Well, it's always a fair answer to say, I don't know. In fact, I've heard a lot of wise men say that instead of bullshit answers they've made up in their own mind. What about you, Abel? Someone of your disposition must not like him very much.
I think he's a ruthless man. But he is also very single-mindedly committed to living up to the high standards he has set for himself. And of course, he is loyal. No one can doubt that.
Loyalty is often underrated amongst our society. Overlooked, I'd say, in favor of paranoia. And you don't share this fear?
Well, death comes to us all at one point.
And here I thought it had already come for us. Regardless, what about the Tula Sombra present here?
I think of Cecil as a fierce warrior, loyal, beyond my expectations. Seen some unloyal fucks. But he can be very rash.
As you speak, Vykos seems to sort of smell the air very thoroughly, looking in your direction, and says, it's just like your direct bloodline to be that playful with words. Is this your honest opinion, or should I take your ancestors' reputation into account?
Which one of my ancestors, if I might?
The one I don't like.
Master Valen?
Further back.
I guess you're talking about my first cousin once removed.
Yep.
She is an interesting point in my bloodline, yes.
And is this opinion yours? Or is this the version of your opinion your cousin would say?
I'm still pretty sure that Cecil is loyal. He is fierce warrior, but he is rash.
A fair assessment. And what about the other Lasombra? Freya, what's your opinion?
I'm not really familiar with him, therefore I can't give you any useful information.
Again, always a valid opinion to say, I don't know. When it comes to you, Serena, that I already know. I know exactly what your opinion is. Felt it right here. Maybe a bit lower. you're very easy to read. Especially since you've gotten that lovely gift from my grandchild.
I see. Interesting. Kind of, is it like the cobweb?
A bit more direct. Though I have had a few glimpses into this cobweb you speak of. Thanks to you. First time we've had one of those. Very interesting experience. Now, I think you've all gotten all the information you needed. I expect all of you to ask for this hour that I owe you within the near future. Don't take too long. Never know when I might die. And do keep to this purpose you've been having. You're oddly selfish, but at the same time, very loyal to the sword, which is more than can be said for Hardestat, the former Dickless. I did fix that problem for him. So, do kindly go off, do your own thing. I expect great things from all of you. And, do behave, or misbehave, whatever is needed. Off you go.
Alright, Cecil.
Repeat, your mic cut off.
Serena's off to find Cecil, wherever he flew.
You give a quick bow, immediately turn around and start walking. And Vykos just says, don't slip on the blood. And quick movement and the door is open. And you see Cecil writhing on the ground with his hands sort of shaking.
Serena just looks to it and then is like, I think I could take my hour now, if you don't mind.
Yes?
And she looks to the pack. Do tend to your doctors, please.
All right. Everyone out. I look forward to spending an hour with you in a locked room. This is going to be very interesting. And with a slight movement, Serena, you immediately feel your body sort of unexpectedly stiffen, and you start walking, devoid of your own free will, towards Vykos. The rest of you leave. Go on.
Still speak? Can I still speak?
You try to, but your jaw sort of locked in place. Go on, the rest of you can leave.
Fine. And after this, can we have a little break?
Yeah. We're going on break now, so the rest of you can leave.
Yeah.
Jim looks at Jack.
I take Freya by the elbow, and if someone hesitates, take them as well, and then fuck the hell off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I sort of bow respectfully and go off.
Jim bows and leaves at last.
Jack for sure bowed just.
Mm-hmm. Abel?
Abel is not sticking around.
The most honest reaction. And as all of you leave, and Serena walks towards Vykos, the last thing you see is that the doors close, and you turn to Cecil to see that he is looking at his hands, really focused, and he just looks to one of you and says, "Do you have something for pain? This is worse than what I've done to myself." And we'll go on break right there and be back very soon.
See you soon.
See you soon.